And all of my businesses are run by virtual assistants. And so, when I say that, people go, oh, yeah, people helping you out. And I go, no, I literally work as a strategic advisor. So I only step in and give advice on the overall strategic plan, but every single bit of the company is operated by people in the Philippines.
In this episode, we're going to show you how to create a fully automated business run by virtual assistants with Joe Rare. So stick around.
If you want to build a legitimate, profitable online business without shiny objects, without the hypey gimmicks, and without the stress and overwhelm, if you want to make more money without having to be present online all day, every day, pumping out content that nobody sees and hustling DMs to generate leads and sales, then this is the place for you. Welcome to the Digital Trailblazer podcast, your online business university, where you'll learn how ordinary people start from ground zero with no influence, no email list or audience to sell to, and no business or marketing experience, and go from working 9-to-5 jobs to building successful 6- and 7-figure online businesses and all the steps in between. Learn the strategies that worked and what didn't. Learn the mistakes that they made and how to avoid them, and then learn their plans for scaling their businesses and taking things to the next level. All so that you can build your business faster and easier and make more money without sacrificing the things that are important to you in your life. I'm your host, Leah Ray Getz, and with me is my husband, Todd. Now, let's get to it with today's guest.
Hey, Joe, we're excited to have you with us today. I think this is a very interesting conversation that everyone's going to be very curious and want to dive deep into. But before we get into all the meat and potatoes, why don't you give a little bit of context, let our audience know a bit more about you and where all this came from.
I am somewhere deep rooted in my DNA, I think, is entrepreneurial blood. And I basically have only built businesses. I sold my first company at the age of 22. So it's just been, I guess, a part of me as long as I can remember, and it's been what I've wanted to do. And so then, after a lot of failures, a couple successes, but a lot of failures, I, stumbled on the ability to build businesses using virtual assistants and outsourcing most, employee type work. And we built a really cool culture. It's allowed me to build many companies all at the same time and give me absolute freedom to do basically anything I want any day of the week. Fridays, I will do a couple podcast interviews, but other than that, it's like family day. And we're kind of one of those weird families. Like, we have dinner together every single day, and we really, really focus on time, and time is the most important asset. And all of my businesses are run by virtual assistants. And so, when I say that, people go, oh, yeah, people helping you out. And I go, no, I literally work as a strategic advisor. So I only step in and give advice on the overall strategic plan, but every single bit of the company is operated by people in the Philippines. And so that's kind of been my claim to fame. And that's what Level 9 Virtual helps other companies do as well.
That's just, I think, wild for anybody who's working really hard right now to build a business to even comprehend. So just to help people understand that a little bit further, what types of businesses are you talking about here?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it obviously works best with anything that doesn't require physical presence. So digital-based businesses, which is, that's been kind of my mission. I had a digital marketing agency with a bunch of US employees sitting in desks in a fancy office with glass doors and walls and fancy computers and desks and, then chairs. And then it's, not the right chair. So you have to get a different ergonomic chair because of, all of these different, workers' comp laws. And the digital business world was most intriguing to me simply because I could be anywhere. And my family and I, we love to travel. Like, we're getting ready to leave. And I think we're 4 weeks out, and we're heading to Hawaii for most of the month of May, which will be a blast. But I wanted to be able to be anywhere, do anything, never say no to being where my kids are and with their activities and the stuff that they're doing. And the only way to do that is if I could be digital. If the world that I lived in was on a laptop or that laptop lifestyle. So digital-based businesses, it works best. But we support a lot of different businesses that are brick and mortar, that have service elements to it, even retail stores and, actual physical businesses. But all of my companies are all digital based. So I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah. So just to maybe dig into that a little further. So are we talking like social media marketing agencies? Are we talking about like Facebook ad agencies?
Both. Yeah, both of those work, right? Yeah, I have an ad agency in the wedding industry. I have one of those businesses. I had previously a business in the digital marketing space, which everything from website development to, marketing automation to advertising in the RV space, so campground space, and did that. And then we have a data services company, which is not a marketing agency, but we supply data to marketing agencies. I have Premier Vacation Partners is a newer business that we launched, and we provide vacation incentives to businesses so that they can provide that to their clients as a sales tool. And then I also have Level 9 Virtual, which is our VA company. And so all of those different types of businesses are great. We recently exited a business that was a freight dispatching company that was 100% run by virtual assistants. So we exited that business. And, but again, that was just kind of a fun one that we put together, and then it worked well. And then we exited and it was great.
So those are some examples, but there's could be a bunch of different things that you do this with, right?
Anything that doesn't require a physical human being to be next to you can basically be outsourced.
Now, in my mind, when I think about hiring help from the Philippines or some other country like that, typically what I'm looking for is lower level, just easy task oriented things. I'm assuming, so yeah, we're definitely hiring those, but it sounds like you're actually hiring manager level, higher level people as well. Is that right?
Of course. I mean, what's funny is most of my staff that works on my internal team, so we have an internal team about 22, 23, they all have more education than I do. Like, I'm a college dropout, and we have people with master's degrees. I always love to tell it because I think it's one of the coolest things. Is like, so my lead developer, Sonny, he just happens to be a professor at a university. Like, the guy is so far above my education level and my experience level. It's unbelievable. But everybody discounts, and part of the problem with people's thoughts around outsourcing is they get trapped into the freelance world where somebody's trying to come in to do a role and then go ahead and leave and go on to the next thing. And that's very what we would call transactional. But businesses at a scale, if you're actually trying to grow a business and build teams and all those things, you can't just live on transactional staff. Your team can't be transactional where they come in, do something, and then go somewhere else. We build people into careers where they work with companies forever. We have clients that have their outsourced staff through us for, 2016, 7, working up to 10 years here. And so that is the difference is if you look at it, I'm looking for lower level people, you're probably getting very transactional type hires versus saying, no, I'm going to build a team. So I'm going to take some time. I'm going to invest some time and money to find people who are educated, experienced, skilled. They can, or you can start somebody who's maybe lower level and grow them into their roles. Everybody in a leadership role in our company started out not in one of those roles. We trained them. They learned the business. They understood who I am, what I value, what the company's about, and they grew into their roles. And so the opportunities are every end of the spectrum, but it's just getting away from that transactional mentality and realize that you're building a team. They just don't happen to be in a state. They might be overseas.
So how do you find these people? Are you contracting with like placement agencies over in the Philippines, or are you like just advertising directly over there, or how do you?
Yeah, we do it all. We have an entire HR department that we have a recruiting division of the HR team, a management team, with managing the staff. So we do all of it. If there's a way to hire somebody, we probably do it. So relationships with universities, other headhunters and recruitment agencies, we do it all.
Now, getting one of these businesses off the ground, do you have to be involved at least at the beginning to kind of get the processes in place and figure out how it needs to be run and how it operates and maybe?
Yeah. So my strategy when starting and kind of growing a business and then wanting to get out of it is the first thing that I do is if I can't build it with my existing lifestyle, meaning guess what? On Fridays, it's family day. Like I don't really work. If I can't do that, then I don't touch the opportunity. So any investment coming my way, any business opportunity coming my way, if it doesn't fit within the lifestyle mold that I have, then we don't touch it. But in the beginning, yes, I'm going to go in and I'm going to find what problem are we going to solve in the marketplace? How are we going to go about solving it? What resources are going to be required? What is, our acquisition strategy going to look like? All of those bits and pieces. And then I'm going to go do it. And I'm going to document me doing it my way. And then alongside of me, there's going to be multiple virtual staff that's going to be with me during the process so that they're seeing what we're doing, experiencing what we're doing, and they're with me the whole way. And so they're helping document the process. So I know when everybody says, well, do you have SOPs? And I'm like, yeah, but guess who creates them? It ain't me. It's the virtual staff. So they're with me the whole way. And then we refine each moment through the process. And so we figure out what works, what didn't work, where there's an opportunity to improve. And we just continue documenting. And then when I feel like we're at a certain point where we've got prospecting down. Okay, great. I can handle sales and I'm great at that side of it. I got somebody prospecting. They tee me up to opportunities. We close sales. Now we move on to fulfillment. So I'm going to show the team how to fulfill, but they're going to do the fulfillment. And so then they do fulfillment. We go, great. Okay, so we've got prospecting, we've got sales, and now we've got fulfillment. Now we just need more of that. And so then as you get more of that, then you put more people in place in prospecting, more people in place in sales, more people in fulfillment. And then you go, wait, now I've got a bunch of people. So now we need management over the people. And then that's how we actually grow our organization. And we do it each time that we launch a business.
How long does it take to get something like that up and running?
Depends how complex some of the processes are. So if fulfillment is really complex, like in a virtual assistant business, there's complexity. We have client acquisition on one hand, you have staff acquisition on another, right? Recruitment. You have to basically do two different sales to build the business. Then you have to maintain retention with the client, retention with the staff. You have to keep that going the whole way. So there's a lot of moving parts in between. So the complexity in that business, the staffing side of it, is more than something like our vacation incentive company. That has very low. So I was able to launch that, get it profitable with enough clients and be out of it in 90 days.
On the longer end, how long could it take? Like if you were doing, say, a local SEO agency or a marketing agency running Facebook ads or something like that?
Well, I still think that can be launched and out of in 90 to 120 days. I think both of those. Because fulfillment, the interesting thing with most of these businesses, while there are going to be nuances with your clients, different strategies you're going to need to know certain, different things. But the fulfillment process is always identical. Same thing with SEO. I mean, you could basically say, hey, I have this agency. Our fulfillment process and how we serve our clients is a checklist. And if we just check all these boxes and do all these things for every single client, you can train that in days. Right now, getting somebody up to skill so that they have the level of skill to provide results, that training piece of it is difficult, right? That takes some time. But you can also just hire somebody who already has the skill, who buys into your processes, and then now you have a business. And honestly, I think setting up a marketing agency and making it profitable, in my opinion, because I've done it multiple times in a row, it's not that challenging. Now, growing and sustaining it and keeping it successful, that's hard.
So as far as how much you're paying these people, because obviously we're hiring in the Philippines because they're a lot cheaper than it costs a lot less. So what are the pay ranges that we're looking at over there?
Well, it depends what the role is, right? So we have staff that we pay US wages because they have roles that deserve that rate. We have other people that are, very entry level. So they may be, anywhere from $6-7 an hour, but then we have people making obviously US type wages in the $20-30 an hour range. And this is the difference, I think, on why people can't understand how we do it. And I go, well, I do this over and over again. This is like, it's the same model. It's the same structure, the same country, of hiring. And we keep replicating successful businesses over and over. But the difference is I'm not afraid to pay someone the value of what the company needs in order to succeed. So if I put an operations director in place, she's absolutely going to get a pay rate that's far, higher than somebody who's managing social media content. Totally different people, absolute different value and different ROI for the company. And so the ranges are going to be gigantic, but if somebody's good and you try to underpay them and they figure out that they're pretty good, we'll probably hire them out from underneath you because we pay better, because we'll pay them better. So if you're kind of curious, it's like, no, we're not the type of people who pay $3 or $4 an hour. We don't do that at all. So that's not who we're hiring, because guess what? When you hire somebody for $3 an hour, you get somebody worth $3 an hour. And that's the challenge. And guess what? What does everybody want when they think, well, I'm going to go to the Philippines and I'm going to hire and outsource people? I want somebody at $3 because that's what the ads on social media say. And you're going to get somebody worth $3 an hour. And so correlate that to the value that you want in your business. If it fits, go ahead and do it. If it doesn't fit, like I know it won't, then you need to spend more money and build culture, build teams, build ongoing staff that's going to be with you forever. So I do things quite a bit different in that sense.
So what's considered a good starting wage over there? Because I know in the United States, I think minimum wage is like $15 an hour in most places. What are we looking at over there as far as like the minimum you would want to pay somebody who's good?
I wouldn't pay anybody less than $5 an hour ever. We used to start people who'd never had a job before. And we used to start them, I think if I mistake it right, we used to put them through training and pay them $4 an hour during training. Then they would get some sample tasks and they would prove they're ready to move up. And then we would jump them up and then they would continue to rise. And that was years ago. So now I don't think anybody even starts at 6 anymore. So what we're seeing is that the demand over there is getting a little bit like the US. And so there's a little bit of an entitlement mentality kind of creeping through. Even you see it even in basically all parts of mainland Asia, Asia Pacific. You're seeing it everywhere. However, it's becoming more and more apparent, even in the Philippines, that we're seeing some of this like entitled thing. Like, hey, I haven't really done a ton of work. So you keep mentioning like ad agencies. Somebody who's run ads before will say, I'm worth $10 an hour or something. That's what they want us to hire them for. And then we go, okay, great. Let's talk about your experience. Let's see what kind of work you've done. Let's see what kind of budgets you've managed before. And it's like, well, we were spending about $5 a day over here. And I'm like, but I need you to manage $1,000 a day. So your skill level is just not even close to where I need you to be. And so I'll pay you what you think you're worth when you're worth it. And we're just very, I just want to be transparent with people and let them know, like, when your skill level warrants the pay, we'll absolutely get you there. But let's build you to the person that can manage $1,000 a day pay, budget. But if you've only managed $5 or $10 a day, there's no way I can trust you with 1,000. And so you're just not either you're not the right fit, or you've got a ways to go before we get you there.
So I think a lot of our audience are coaches, course creators in that space. If you were to talk with a kind of a solopreneur who's looking to get back some of their time, kind of walk us through what's the journey or path you take them on to be able to get more of that freedom that they're seeking.
First hire is an executive assistant, period. That executive assistant should be in charge of your calendar. They should be in charge of your email. And those two things by themselves will increase your income exponentially. Most people cannot sit down and fathom how much wasted time and, more importantly, attention they give their email inbox. So all of us as entrepreneurs, we've got our personal email, we've got our business email. If you're a solopreneur, you probably have your business email plus like a support or an info at email, right? You've got multiple, but yet you're the person answering all of it. The amount of time that people waste inside their email is insane. Just getting rid of that and nothing else, you will absolutely make more money, period. So personally, like, I never check my own email ever. I get twice a day, I get a Slack message with what's important. And if it's something that only Joe can answer, it's in my summary. If not, it might be my assistant says, hey, this came in, I replied this, and you're set, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, that was the right thing to say. Or, oh, next time do this differently, right? And then we're training as we go. And we use a lot of AI so that she sounds like me. She can write in my tone and all that stuff. But that is the first hire. The second hire that I would say is almost every single person needs more business. So hire somebody to prospect. So start with an executive assistant. Now you have more time to sell, right? And if you're a coach, you're probably spend time with your clients coaching. So that's how you're trading your time. But there's always the cycle that entrepreneurs go through where it's like, prospect, I got a client, now I got to fulfill the client, but now I got to figure out how to get back to prospect and to get another client to sell. And what happens is during the fulfillment side of things, they end up, well, I had 3 clients, but now I just lost 1. Now I'm back to prospecting to gain another. Now I just lost another. And they're doing this loop. So get somebody to take one of those kind of parts of the circle out, and it might be prospecting. And that's an easy one because somebody can tee you up, get you into a conversation with somebody that you might do business with, and then you just close the sale, and now you've got to worry about fulfillment. And so then if you're a course creator, then the next hire that I would be get somebody to create your content for you. And then, so if you've got an executive assistant free in your time, somebody prospecting, setting you up to sell, and then you've got somebody creating your content, your real core responsibility is revenue generation. And that's how businesses grow. And so then once you get to a point where you've got all of that down, then you can put somebody in sales. So that's the direction that I would hire if I was a coach or a content creator.
That's awesome. So when you say prospecting, what would that really look like for folks? I think there's probably some question marks going on in our audience's minds.
Yeah. So back in the day, it used to be super fun to do social media prospecting, hitting everybody's DMs and offering to support them in whatever it is that they're doing. Today, that's terrible. That's a bad way to do it. But that's actually how I built an entire agency. We went from 0 to 100,000 a month in 4 months with one VA prospecting all day. And all they did was tee me up. I closed sales, a fulfillment team fulfilled. And then after 4 months, I put somebody else in sales and I stepped out of the business. And so we did that. And that was like my records, 0 to 100 grand in 4 months. Well, then the next 4 months, we doubled it again. Then I figured out that, well, I could do that with anything if I could do it with one thing. And so then we cut that down. We've gotten it down to like 84 days or something like that, from 0 to 100 grand a month. But the difference is now prospecting's changed, right? So then people were cold text blasting. Well, that's, going to get you in trouble. Cold calling. Right now, what's kind of coming back around pretty well is email outreach. You can go en masse if you're not sure how to really craft good messages and get people. Or I have a team of people who sit and all they do is send one email to one person, and they do that 100 times a day. So they look up the person that I want them to contact. We have our lead list. They find out something about that person. They send a very personalized message to that one person about something that's relevant to them. And it's literally boring. It's lame. It's one-to-one, it's unscalable, it costs money because there's humans, and it gets us massive results. And the difference is that how many of us get an email that says, hey, insert LinkedIn script that it pulled out of your LinkedIn, right? And it's like, oh, well, sweet, I got 14 of those today. So you're full of it, you're full of it, you're full of it. Nobody's getting my business. Why? Because it's the same as everything else. And so instead, I go, well, guess what? Nobody else will do. Nobody else is going to sit down and literally go one-to-one. Send one message to every single person that you want to do business with. And then guess what? Tomorrow when they didn't reply, do it again. And the next day when they didn't reply, do it again. And do that over and over again. And that's prospecting. That's finding people to get connected with. And you could have somebody do some things on social media where they go and they comment and that. And we've got some other kind of hidden traps that we use for prospecting as well. And but yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it, but that's what I would, call prospecting.
I think there's a few lessons in there. Number one is that when everybody else is zigging, you need to be zagging, being adaptable. Because a lot of these things, a lot of these strategies, like you said, like the email thing is coming back again. It was a thing. It went away. Then people went on to spamming people's DMs and went to cold calling and text message blast. Now the email thing is coming back in. You do this for long enough and it's like the old things are new again. So being adaptable, kind of knowing what everybody else is up to is really helpful. And then being able to pivot whenever things start getting stale. Because that was one of the things I was going to ask about is how are you generating traffic and getting the clients? And so is that pretty much all prospecting or are you doing...
we spend money on ads too. All right, I'll give you a secret. I never tell anybody this because I'm like, nobody will do it, first of all. But because nobody else is doing it, it's like, I don't even want them to know. Like we look at it in a kind of an omni-channel approach. And so there's social media, okay, first of all, I'll back up. I hate social media, hate it. Like, I think it's terrible for our society. I think that people are worse because of social media. And I think kids are having the most challenging lives because of social media. I truly believe that. So my kids, I pray, I will lock their hands up behind their back and not let them have social media for as long as I can. So with that said, we still post content on social media, but I give zero care It's like if somebody catches me on a, our staff catches me recorded on a video, they'll cut it up and they'll post it. And I don't know. So I don't log on to my social media and manage it at all. I don't touch it. So social media is there though. So if somebody wanted to cross-reference me and go like, who's Level 9 Virtual? Who's Joe? And they go look, they're like, oh, like this dude talks a lot about this stuff. Like, oh, that's actually a good point, right? Okay, so there's relevance. Like I exist on the internet. So that's the first good thing. The second thing is like I'm in your email inbox. So I'm doing my prospecting. I'm trying to connect with the people I want to connect with in the niches I want to, in the regions, all those things. So I'm in their email. I'm in their social media. I'm running ads on their social media. I'm also, the thing nobody will do is I'm sending direct mail and I'm literally mailing them to their house or their business something. It could be, sometimes it's a lumpy package. Sometimes it's just a postcard. Sometimes we do a letter. Sometimes we send out these notebooks with our brand on them. We do all kinds of stuff. And so we send all this stuff with the intent of just being like, okay, I got this in the mail, and they're kind of, walking from their mailbox to their house and they've got something in their hand. They flip open, their phone, and they're looking at social media, and there we are. And then, as they're scrolling, there's an ad, and then they check their email, there's us again. And it's like, so it's Joe, it's Level 9, it's Level 9, it's Level 9, it's Level 9 in their face, in every direction that they look. Eventually, we're either going to make them so tired that they finally talk to us, or they're going to be like, okay, that's who I need to talk to. And so that's how we actually approach acquiring new clients.
The direct mail thing I've heard a number of times now from people who do real estate investing and things like that, that whatever they're sending, they really work on making it to stand out. So they may make it an awkward size. They'll make it bright yellow. They'll do things to make it stand out just to get people's attention. Like you said, when other people are zigging, you need to be zagging, right? Doing something different. And nobody else is doing that. Very few people.
Like, think about this. When was the last time you, as a business owner, received a piece of mail from a digital marketer? Like, hey, I'd like to run your Facebook ads for you. And it showed up in your physical mailbox. Never, right? Like, so this is the interesting thing about it is like, yes, we know the industries that use direct mail. Real estate uses it. Attorneys use it, right? You might see some like legal stuff, possibly medical, but like you never see the digital space use traditional content structures. And so that's the reason that we do it, is because nobody else does. Has anybody ever received a piece of mail from a virtual assistant company? Never. And that's the cool part. And so while nobody else will do it, I'm like, well, I don't care. Like, let's find out. I mean, what's the worst that happened? Like, we waste some cash on, it's like, I've wasted a lot more money doing dumber things. So I'm pretty sure that trying to gain revenue is probably one of my least worries.
So when you send these out, are they being sent from locally from the United States?
Of course. Yeah. So, I mean, there's all kinds of clearinghouses that do direct mail for you. So yeah. And that, there's all kinds of services. So it's not like anybody, but I mean, again, a VA sets it up. They design whatever's going to go out. They create the campaign, and it's all done online.
Awesome. I love it. Is there any tips or advice you kind of want to leave or reinforce with the audience today?
I think the biggest piece of advice that I would say is hire an executive assistant. We have a client, a guy who's been with us for a very long time. He was actually one of our very first clients, and he's an attorney, but he also has a marketing agency towards attorneys. And he's had VAs with us for like going on like 9 years. And a couple months ago, he came to me and he was just like, dude, he goes, I have VAs with you guys. How are you always snowmobiling in the winter? Like, you're gone. I see that you're out riding your snowmobile. You got your kids out on snowmobiles. You guys are doing like fun stuff. The rest of us are grinding. And I'm like, you still haven't hired an executive assistant. And I'm like, so you spend an obnoxious amount of time just checking email. And I said, if you could just eliminate, let's call it the 3 hours per day that you're in your email doing whatever it is that you're doing, the extra 30 minutes on your calendar, maybe the back and forth that you might have with, other parts of the business. Like, if you could just take back that 3 hours a day, like you could eliminate 2 work days, like pretty quickly. Right. And all of a sudden now you've got all this free time. And most people are terrified to give up their email inbox. And so when everybody's afraid to do it, here's what I would ask you. If you were to get deadly honest with yourself and go, all right, out of everything that comes into my email, how much of is it really my eyes only, right? So you might have your personal email that's like your Gmail, but like, let's talk business first. It's like how much of it comes through and is so confidential that nobody else could see it for you. Even somebody, let's say that you have them sign an NDA, and like how much of it? 0.5%? Nothing is confidential. Like it just isn't. How many gigantic deals come through your email that make you an atrocious amount of money because you were there to answer it? 0. So the downside to somebody else managing your email inbox doesn't exist. It's fabricated in our minds. And as soon as you can get over that, like your world opens up. So my advice to everybody is like, go get an executive assistant. We actually have a hybrid model going right now. Actually, this is kind of cool. We will help you with one of our services. We have a project-based service. Like you could just think of it like Upwork. You can come to us and say, hey, I just need to get a few things done. Graphic design, video editing, a funnel built, whatever. And you can just assign tasks over a month. You have a project manager, a team that specializes in that core skill set. They'll do the work. It's all project-based. You buy a block of hours to use over a month, and then you get whatever hours you don't use, roll over to the next month. We changed it to this hybrid model where we will also include 3 hours a day of an executive assistant to take over your email inbox and your calendar. So you'll get project-based work. You'll get an executive assistant to support you. You get out of your email inbox. You give up your calendar and let them help you. They'll help you manage tasks and do all those things. You'll get more done, save a ton of time, and all of that can be done. And it's totally affordable for anybody running a business. So that's an option that's available right now.
That's awesome. I hope everyone's really listening and understanding how quickly they could and should be getting help to just clear up some more of that time. Because whether that allows you to work in the ramp up period, so it gives you more free time to work on the income producing activities that you need to do to get this off the ground, or you have children, they're only little for a little time, and to be able to carve out just a couple hours, even a day more to spend with your family is priceless, and you're never going to get that time back or those memories. So I think that's beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. The time piece of it is that's the priceless, moment right there. So yep,
absolutely.
there you go.
So if people want to learn more about you, where should they head?
Yeah. So go to level9virtual.com, level9virtual.com. In the top right corner, you can book a call. You'll chat with my team. They're awesome. They'll just share with you how your current circumstance could be improved by outsourcing, whether it's just simply an executive assistant, whether it's project-based, whatever it is. You can also go /calculator and see just what the cost value is in your business. Hey, if I were to hire somebody local, if I were to get some work off my plate, how much money does it save me as far as time cost goes? So really valuable assets and resources there. So yeah, level9virtual.com.
Awesome. We'll have the links to all that in the show notes and description. Joe, this has been a great conversation. Thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys.
You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. For show notes and information about today's guest, head to digitaltrailblazer.com. Now, if you love this episode, if you got some value, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe. And be sure to share this episode with anyone you know who could use help to build their business. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.